Both players see the writing on the wall here, Farah, in the finals.
What is up, Pokemon and Magic enjoyers? I've got not only one of the greatest Pokemon players of all time, but now one of the best Magic players in the game, Mr. Ian Robb, and he's going to show me some cards, and he's going to have me guess how good they are. Someone who has never played or even watched Magic the Gathering. So Ian, thanks for joining us today. How do you think, first off, how do you think I'm going to do?
So, thank you for having me on today, and I'm very interested. I picked some cards, I think, to be honest, were a little too all over the place. So I'm a little excited to see how this goes. I think you may get a few right. I think the first few might be a little rough. I think that, to be honest, my order is a little bit hard. So I'm very interested to see if you will be able to figure out if a card is good or not, at least at the beginning. I think near the end, some of them are a little more simple. But we're starting with one of the harder ones. I'll say it first. So
cool.
Here we have.
Before we start, though, I want to ask you just a couple questions because I haven't played Magic, so I just need to understand like the basics. So you have what? It's 20 life you have in Magic, right?
20 life. The goal of the win is you bring your opponent down to 0 life, or they deck out. Deck out's not really a win condition usually. There's some deck out cards, including one we'll be seeing later on that can win through deck out, but usually it's you bring your opponent down to 0 life. The thing in the top right is how much it costs. So for example, our first card here, Brainstorm, is 1, and instant means you can play it at any time, and sorcery means you can only play it during your turn. And last basic thing that you really need to understand is each turn you can play 1 land. So 1 land is how you get like ways to cast your spells. So for example, this one costs 1 land. And one other thing is card draw is very different in Magic. So of course you only draw 1 card per a turn, and there's nothing like research in this game. Card draw is, for example, a card that is like 3 mana draw 2 is like pretty solid. Even though it takes up your whole 3rd turn, just 1 extra card is pretty good.
Okay.
So our first one here is not a card that gives you an extra card as you draw 3 and put 2 back on top, but it is you're neutral on cards. Do we think that this one is, I'm going to have options of fringe play, very good, or bad? I think that's like the 3 criteria.
Cool. Yeah, so I mean, that was the first thing I noticed. So I do know that Magic and like other card games, like they say that like stuff like Ciaran or like draw 3 in Pokemon like would be broken in their games. It's not broken in ours. So I know that any card that draws is like normally strong. So, and I know card advantage is a concept that's very important in the other games.
Very, very, very important in Magic.
So this is like neutral, like you're saying, because you're basically you play this one, so then you put the other ones. You draw 3, but this goes to the graveyard or whatever it's called.
I will say, I'm gonna have one last thing quickly. There's a lot of cards in Magic that shuffle the deck for free.
Okay.
That's the last thing I'll add. So that is a little bit important for this card to know that basically shuffling your deck is a free thing. It's not as much as like Pokemon, but it's pretty easy to.
Okay, so I mean, like, you can shuffle the deck. So I mean, how big are decks in Magic? Are they also 60?
60 cards.
Okay.
60 cards.
So, I mean, if there's not that much card draw in Magic, I feel like shuffling your deck is like, actually, it might be more important, because if I have cards that are completely irrelevant, like, I might want to shuffle my deck more often, so I have a chance to draw other stuff. I mean, I feel like if you can't draw as much, like, a card like this is probably pretty good, because, like, you're going through your deck faster, right? Otherwise, like, I feel like you're just stuck with your opening hand that you top deck every turn. So even though this is neutral, it's probably worth it just like dig a bit more. Like, I've played Hearthstone before, and even cards that were like 1 for 1. I mean, like Novice Engineer when the game came out was a good card, right? So I feel like just the way Magic's like designed, like I feel like a card like this has to be good if I'm seeing 3 from my deck. So I'm gonna guess this is like a good card.
This is a card, one of the best cards in Magic's history.
Okay, nice.
So the reason why this card is good is while, yes, you are neutral on cards, drawing lands is usually pretty bad at a certain point in the game, as you need lands to be able to cast your spells, but they don't do anything by themselves. So if let's say you have enough to cast everything, but you draw like your 5th one, they're pretty useless. So being able to draw 3 and putting back useless cards is very good because there's lands that shuffle your deck for free, no extra cost. So it's very easy for you to basically turn this into a draw 3. Even though the card says you put 2 back, it's really you are up on cards. It's very, very, very easy. So this card has been banned in, I believe you're only allowed to play 1 copy in Magic's format, where basically you can play anything. there's two different versions of it. There's one where you can play like mass ban list, and there's one that's like restricted. Like you can only play one copy of Black Lotus, one of the most iconic cards, and you can only play one copy of Brainstorm because of how powerful this card is.
Okay, good. I'm glad I got that right.
So you're 1 for 1. You're 1 for 1. This card is very powerful. I want to do this first because I thought maybe I could trick you with this one. So we'll see. So this next one's very different. Okay. So we have here Shivan Dragon. So just cost 6, which is a lot in the game. I'll say that because you can only play it usually on turn 6. There's some ways to cheat in to play it earlier, but usually it's 6. It's just a creature that can kill your opponent. Does this seem like, what's your first thoughts on this?
Okay, so I think creatures, like I played Hearthstone, so like I guess it's kind of like that, right? Where you put them on the board, and like okay, so then
pretty similar.
So when you attack in Magic, like are you allowed to target? Like can I just be like, okay, I'm attacking like your life, or do I have to pick like something?
So how Magic works is you have to just attack your opponent. There's things called Planeswalkers, which like you can choose to attack them instead, but usually it's just you attack your opponent, and then instead of like how Hearthstone works where you have taunts, you're allowed to do something called blocking, which is like if I attack with my 5/5, I can block with whatever creature. You don't have to have a special keyword. Okay. It's just, I can block, and then they each deal damage to each other. Damage doesn't stay, though. Like Hearthstone's damage stays. Sure. This game, end of turn, it wipes. So, like, for example, this creature, flying means it has, like, evasion. Like, it cannot be blocked by ground guys. Like, not every card will have flying. It's kind of like, not stealth is, like, a good keyword as an example, but like Hearthstone, like just like evasion, just things that, you know, not everything can deal with it. So it's a big creature that cannot be blocked by everything. That's kind of the upside of this one, is that to have 1 or 2 keywords, which again, most creatures do not have.
Okay. And then when you block, like, can I send multiple creatures to block, or do I have to pick one of my creatures to block?
Yes, you can pick multiple. So like if I attack a guy with like 5 power and 5 toughness, again, it's like Hearthstone stats, how it works.
Okay.
I can block with 2 creatures with 3 power. The creature dies.
Okay. And then my last question then is, so like when I attack, like is it just like by default targeting like your opponent's life points, or like can I be
usually
like,
yes.
Okay,
yeah. Okay. Usually you cannot attack creatures, but you can choose there's a thing called Planeswalkers, which are like these powerful guys that you can play that like help you with like crazy effects, but the baseline is usually just you attack your opponent.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. And then that effect where it says it gets +1/+0, does that mean I have to use a mana to like get a +1
so
attack?
You can use 1 mana. So for example, like let's say you play this on turn 6 with 6 red.
Yeah.
The next turn you play a 7th one and you can do 12 damage.
Okay, so I can use it multiple times.
Yes. You can, if the thing says like pay 1, it doesn't say you can use it multiple times unless it says once per turn.
Okay. Interesting. And I was just gonna ask, can you attack like the turn I put a creature down? Like, can I put this down and attack right away, or do I have to have like a keyword?
There's a keyword called haste. It's like charge in Hearthstone.
Okay. Cool. Interesting. Okay, so I mean, like the thing that you told me where you could use its effect like multiple times, like I thought you could only do it once. That changed it a little bit for me, because originally I was like, it has 6 mana. I'm like, that's crazy because like
it's a lot. 6 is a lot for this type of effect, I'll say.
Because like the opportunity cost of not playing anything else on my turn is crazy, right? And then also, like, if you use mana on your turn, like, you can't use it during your opponent's turn, right? You have to wait for your turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another big thing, because then I can't play like my counters.
Yeah.
But I could see like if like it can't get blocked, like if I can just on my like my last turn, if I have like 8 or 7 mana, like I can probably just like one-shot my opponent.
Yes, you could one-shot them sometimes.
Like, I feel like you would need to have like a defensive strategy where you almost need some like setup. So when I played Hearthstone, like a lot of the good monsters that cost a lot of like mana, like they weren't very good because you had to wait a turn. And then like, if I put this into play, like I assume there's like removal spells or like cards that can get rid of creatures.
Yes, I'll show you a kind of removal we're talking about later. Example of like a removal spell would be black has a lot that, because there's 5 colors: black, blue, red, green, white. Like black has a lot of, for example, like for 2, it could like destroy, like kill a creature. So. Okay.
Interesting.
There's like multiple ways to get rid of these guys. There's like every color has them. So like, yes, the opportunity cost could be pretty bad for something like this, where your opponent will gain a lot of mana because they pay 2 to get rid of your thing. You paid 6 to play yours, which is a bad exchange.
So like I think I'm gonna lean towards this card's not very good just because it costs too much mana, and like I just feel like it might be too easy for my opponent to remove. So that's my guess. It's not very good.
Yeah, it's not very good because the thing is that the card is originally from, I believe, Alpha, which is like the first set of Magic.
Okay.
And the card just was okay back then because again, cards were like first set ever for card game. Cards are gonna be weaker. So it was like okay back then, but for like now today's standards, the card is just awful. Things like you said about the opportunity cost is pretty big. Like a lot of cards in Magic are bad, not because of like if they live, they do something great. They're bad because the opportunity cost is so bad because the ways to get rid of creatures are just so efficient. You just don't want to waste mana. Even like 1 mana can be a bad exchange. Like you spend 2, they spend 1. Like with how powerful cards are, things like this just are not very good due to, again, just how bad the exchange rate is on it. And there's also just more powerful things to do.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense.
Like there's a lot of cards that do like things like if you tacked on this like draw a card when it comes into play, could be okay. But since it doesn't give you anything extra, you don't go up on cards. If they kill it, then it's not very good.
Makes sense.
All right, so I said about, deck out. This is a card. So sorcery is going to play it during your turn. So for 5 mana, so 3 colorless, so any type, plus 2 blue, it discards half your opponent's deck.
Okay.
And we're playing with 60 card decks.
Okay. Pop. Okay. And this is like a spell. Okay.
Yes, and there's other ways too. It's not just this for getting rid of cards. There's going to be, if you play this in your deck, this is not going to be the only way for you to discard cards. You're going to play like little ones. Like for example, there's a creature that's like whenever you play a land card, you discard top 3 of your opponent's deck. So this would be like your strategy would be to make your opponent go down to 0. One key thing about Magic I forgot to add is Pokemon, you can research, draw 4, and not just automatically lose, right? For Magic, it's whenever you draw a card to 0 in deck, you lose. Okay. So that's just like deck out is a little bit better due to that because your opponent gets, maybe like 1 less turn. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, like, first things is like the last card. It costs 5 mana, which is a lot. So I guess my other thing is like by the time it has diminishing returns because like next time I play Traumatize, it takes like half the amount it took last time. Yeah. So like if I need to wait until I have a turn where I can do 5 mana, like maybe their deck is already like at like 30 or something. Which I mean, I guess getting 15 is pretty good still. Yeah. If I do play a lot of things that get rid of 3. Yeah. I guess my problem is like it's a lot of mana. Okay, what happens? I know there's like counterspell Magic. If I use a card, my opponent counters it. Do I waste my mana or does like I get it
if back? They counter it? Like are you asking if they like counter your spell that you cast, like you waste your mana?
Yeah, it's like you can counter your opponent's spells in Magic, right?
Yes. Counter is a thing. There's a card for I think the most iconic one is called Counterspell. Okay. It's blue, and it's just like counter target spell. So you do get nothing if the card is countered. I will say that counter spells are like they're good, but again, there's only one color which has them, which is blue. Okay. So it's not like you're always facing them. Okay. So you're saying like if I like played Traumatize and my opponent played Counterspell, like I would lose 5 mana still? Yes, you would lose 5, and it'd be a bad like mana exchange for you. Okay.
Cool. Okay, but only blue has Counterspell. Okay, so I mean, like I don't know what types.
There's like some Magic, weird. But... There's 5 colors. 5 colors. And I'll say one last thing. There's some like weird ones in other colors, but I would not count them as like true. Things you have to worry about.
So I guess the other thing I have to like rationalize is like how bad is it to like discard half your deck? Like in Pokemon, like if you discard half your deck, like it's really bad because like you'll lose like your 1-ofs or all that. Yeah. But in Magic, like I'm under the understanding that like you don't even see most of your cards in a match or in a game because like there's not as much draw from what I'm understanding. So maybe it's not as bad to like lose a bunch of cards in your deck. This costs 5. Okay, I'm gonna guess this is like a niche card. Like maybe there's like a mill deck that's like tier 2 or 3. I'm gonna say it's not very good.
Okay, so I think this card is like pretty bad. You're really spot on about the opportunity cost is pretty massive for like it's so much mana. And the thing you said about card draw is very true. Like you don't see most of your deck. So like in Pokemon, this card would be game breaking, right? It just would completely warp how the game is played. But because of how Magic, like let's say in a normal game, you probably draw at most like 20 cards because that's 13 turns. Like that's also like I'm a little bit exaggerating with 20. So like just getting rid of like 30-ish just isn't really all that effective. And again, it's just so slow. There is versions of decks like deck out decks, but they play much more effective and cheaper cards. Like 5 mana for this is just way too much. I believe it was never played. I could be wrong. But the card is like pretty bad, at least for today's standards.
Okay, makes sense. Is there so there have been good deck out decks before though in Magic? Like,
Yeah, there has been like pretty solid ones. I think it's like certain meta calls, from my understanding. Like sometimes people will play it for like certain good matchups because you get access to like some cards that are like pretty powerful. Because some decks do like are really bad against like you discard the right card, they just lose. So sometimes it is like a pretty powerful strategy.
Okay.
But the issue is you're never impacting the board, so you sometimes just like your opponent just kills you before you actually do it. So that's the biggest weakness that cards like this have.
Yeah.
All right, next one. So this one. So you play 1 land a turn, okay?
Okay.
So this is 0 mana for an artifact, which means that artifacts like the thing I said about how quick creatures you have to wait a turn.
Yep.
This it works automatically.
Okay.
So this one just taps and creates white, which is one of the colors. So it's 0, it costs 0, and it taps for a color. And you usually can only play 1 land per turn. And the downside of artifact, like lands usually cannot get like destroyed. Artifacts can get destroyed. Okay. There's cards that do get rid of it, but for the most part, the downside is pretty low, I will say.
Okay. So like I could play this and a land in my turn.
Correct.
Okay. And then does this stay in play forever until someone gets rid of it? Okay.
So until someone gets rid of it, it will be in play.
Interesting. And then when you play a land, like you don't get to use it right away, right? You have to wait a turn.
You can use it right away.
You can use lands right away. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, like the first thing for me is like this is kind of like mana cheating in a way. I mean, I guess you can probably play something like higher cost, like above your curve. But then again, like I'm putting a card in my deck that like doesn't do anything, but it's not like one of my like it's not a spell or a creature. But I guess it also does have the added benefit that it stays in play. So like it's almost like a target for my opponent. Like my opponent kind of has to get rid of this, I assume. Otherwise, I feel like I'm gonna ramp really fast.
I'm not gonna say anything so that they will give away the answer.
Okay. Cause yeah, I think that to me is like, okay, like, I call it in Pokemon like magnetism. When there's a threat so big, like you have to get rid of it. I don't think this is that level, but like I think it's definitely one of those things.
It's not that. It is not that. I'll say.
Yeah, like I think it's one of those things where it's like your opponent like probably has to go out of their way to get rid of this if they want. So like they probably would have to trade a card to get rid of this. So I guess we're like neutral in the idea of like card exchange or whatever. And then I get immediate value out of this. So like in Pokemon, like one thing we talk about a lot is like how a lot of stadiums that are reactive are really bad because like you don't get to use it right away. Like this, like you can use right away. So like I feel like if I'm on turn 3 and I want to play a 4-mana guy, like I could play Max Pearl plus an energy or a land. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna guess this card is like good because it lets you like play things ahead of curve, and then also like your opponent has to get rid of it.
Yeah. So I had this one last minute. It's like one of the best cards of all time. Okay, so there's a cycle of them for each color. It's just mana cheating, which is one of the best things you can do. The downside of your opponent getting rid of it just isn't really real, and just getting extra mana for free is like pretty disgusting. Okay. So this is from like the original Magic set. They created 5, 1 for each color, and it breaks the game's rules because game is balanced around 1 land per turn for how like spells will get like the pacing of everything. So this completely breaks the pacing. The card is banned in like there's 2 different formats for like all cards legal, Legacy and Vintage. Legacy is like the more like balanced version where they ban cards like this that breaks the game's rules. But then Vintage, the other version of it, the card's restricted. So like all the ones like this are restricted. You can only play 1 copy of it. So yeah, it's one of the best cards of all time. I just want to throw it in there just in case, because I was kind of hoping if you called bad and I would get a really good reaction.
That'd be good for the thumbnail.
All right, yeah, all right. So this one is a more simple card. Okay. So just for 2 mana, destroys target non-black creature. What that means is there's 5 colors, right?
Okay.
And there's also like artifact creatures, which are like colorless, okay?
Okay.
Like any deck can play artifacts. So, or I think mostly colorless, if I'm trying to remember correctly. But, so this can destroy or kill 4 of the 5 types of creatures in the game. And it costs 2. So like, for example, it could kill the Shivan dragon that we looked at earlier.
Okay. Okay, I mean, like, the first thing I'm thinking about, like, if this card does end up being good, that means it's good in black. So, like, if it can't destroy, like, black creatures, then my opponent also probably plays this card, so it's probably, like, we're at a neutral state. So I guess I'd have to understand a bit, like, are the creatures, like, is that a main win condition in Magic, or do you, like...
Yes.
Okay, so creatures are big win
So there's 2 different ways to win, really, in my mind. Or I guess there's more than that, but like, there's, I guess, 3 main ways. 1... creatures. Like you play a bunch and you just kill your opponent. Like
Okay.
the deck that won the last event was all about just playing a bunch of creatures and killing your opponent by turn 4.
Okay.
Other way of winning is like you maybe have like 1 or 2 big like creatures that like do something crazy later on. Sometimes like some creatures can't get targeted. Or it could be like combo, which means like you play a bunch of cards in a row to kill your opponent, like a Hearthstone deck, for example. Like, like plays like a Hearthstone combo deck.
Okay.
And then there's control, which is like you don't really play creatures, but instead you just play a bunch of cards like that, you know, slow your opponent down, and eventually you play some big threat at the end of the game that's like hard to deal with after your opponent's out of cards.
Okay, makes sense. And then instant, does that mean like if my opponent plays a creature,
anytime,
like I can just play this? Okay.
Anytime. If you have the mana, which is 2 for this one, you can play this at any time.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that has to be a big part of this card, because I feel like if you're saying like a lot of times like you probably have to like combo a creature, or like you have like some main creatures to win. Like if I just hold my Doomblade until my opponent puts down their thing. Like this almost like reminds me of like Power Spray for people who play 2010 Pokemon. Yeah. It's like you can just like Power Spray like a big.
It's on a little Power Spray. It's on a little Power Spray.
I mean,
so it's
okay, non-level Power Spray. Okay, I mean Power Spray is probably one of the best items in Pokemon.
I mean, yeah. It's like
so that's not saying much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna guess this has to be probably good. Like, I feel like being able to use this at any point, even if it's on my turn, like if like they have like something that they're gonna block with, I can just get rid of it first and then try and attack. So I'm gonna say that Doomblade's a good card.
Yeah, it's a pretty good card.
Okay.
Like again, killing your opponent's creatures is quite important in the game's history. So just it's probably not the better one. It's like a pretty solid one. Again, it has very big limitations. Again, like you said, thinking about killing only non-black is actually a pretty big problem depending on the format. It's like a metagame thing, right? It's like there's a lot of cards like this that have different restrictions for 2 mana. So it's like you got to figure out what one to play based on what creatures are popular. So again, this card's very powerful. It's just really good. It's just a staple of Magic cards like this. There's a lot of removal. Every deck needs removal really, unless you're doing some crazy combo where you get a bunch of cards together to like kill your opponent in 1 turn. So just pretty good.
So every color
again,
has a card like this. Pretty much?
So how it's balanced is blue has like none, and so they like put them back in their hand usually. Okay. That's how it works.
It's like rogue.
So like you get a mana advantage through that. Yeah, basically it's rogue. Blue is rogue. Everything else usually has like some form of it. Some like colors do it differently than others usually. Like green like has the creatures like fight each other to death, or things like does it based on damage, not just hey your thing's dead. So it's a staple of Magic.
Cool.
So this next one, so it's our first, like, I would say more, this is a modern creature, like this came out only a few years ago. So Death Touch is if this deals damage to a creature, it dies. Doesn't matter if 4 power is not enough, it will still kill it.
Okay. One thing I should have asked, like, how does it work when you attack? So, like, if I block, right? Like, let's say my creature has 5 defense, and, like, I have 4 attack. Like, do I take damage because I don't do enough damage, or, like, what happens?
So you're saying, like, if this, like, you put a 4 power into a 5 toughness?
Yeah.
All what happens is it'll just bounce off. Like, the damage will just sit there.
So, like, nothing happens? Like, there's no damage in play?
Yeah, so basically it's like, it's like if there's no damage sits, how it works is that damage stays on the board until end of turn.
Okay. So then...
And then it just gets refreshed. There's like some cards that instead say like give them like -1/-1 counters, which is like kind of like damage, but usually it's just like if my 2 power guy punches or 3 toughness, the damage will go away end of turn.
Okay, so the 3 toughness guy would have 1 health left then, and then I can
and then end of turn it just heals.
Okay, and then like so then if I have like let's say I have a 2/2 guy and I attack a 1/1 guy, does my 2/2 guy take 1 damage or no?
If they block, it'll take 1 damage, but then the 1/1 would die, and then end of turn it would just go back to having no damage on it.
And then I pick the order I attack with my creatures, or do I have to do them all at once?
It's all at once.
So my opponent can choose what order the attacks come, like defend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically like if you attack with like 4 creatures, they can pick like who to block.
Okay.
And there's mechanics like one creature does damage first before the other one does.
Okay. And then I guess last thing is like, is there like just one attack phase? Like when I say attack, that's my attack.
Yes, one attack. Yeah. Okay. It's not like games like Hearthstone where it's like you do everything in whatever order you want. It is you go. It's like how the game works is it goes like untap all your stuff, you draw, you cast stuff, then you attack, then you cast stuff again, then you pass.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I mean, like, a couple things I'm reading this card. So Death Touch seems pretty good as, like, a defensive option. Like, I can just, like, get rid of my opponent's best monster, I guess, if they're attacking.
Yeah.
Like, the thing about drawing a card, gaining 2 life, like, that's probably decent. But, I mean, like, if I'm playing this down, like, it costs 4 mana, so I'm probably not drawing cards the turn I put it down. I think the second effect's interesting. When an opponent draws a card, they lose 2. Like, maybe if I'm playing a more defensive strategy or, like, a control strategy, like, you could, like, use this as your guy and, like, because, like... Okay, I mean, I guess every time I draw a card... So I'm not getting that effect right away. I mean, at least my opponent's going to draw... They're going to lose 2 life, I guess, minimum.
Yeah, basically at minimum that, yes. There's like sometimes you can draw a card with it, but usually like black doesn't draw cards for cheap.
Okay.
It'd be another color. Like black's usual draws like 2-3 mana, which is, you know, doesn't really combo of 4.
And then when it says legendary creature, does that just mean like ultra rare or something? It doesn't matter.
It's basically you can't have 2 in play.
Okay.
If you play a second one, you have to like get rid of one of them. So
okay.
It's a balancing thing where it's like it makes it so that, you know, they can print really powerful effects, or like cool effects, right? And not have it stack. Like something like this stacking would be kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So it's like instead you can only have one, which isn't as powerful.
Okay, so I guess that's also something to consider. It's like if I'm playing this, it's almost like an A spec in a way. Like I'm not probably
basically, yeah. You can play like 3 copies of the A spec, but you can only have one use of the A spec at a time.
Okay, interesting. So, I mean, I'm kind of thinking about more. Like I almost feel like the draw stuff. Like I feel like that doesn't even matter that much. Like if my opponent has 20 health, and like I'm probably trying to like beat them. I mean, I guess you can whittle like across their health across the game. But I mean, I feel like I don't know how long this would last, because I mean, you showed me like the last card, the removal, and if like every class has something similar, like they can probably get rid of it. But I mean, this does demand respect. Like they have to get rid of this thing for sure. And the Death Touch does seem good. I mean, the Death Touch seems like irrelevant on my turn if I attack, because they'll just get their weakest creature to block this, I guess. So it's really just a defensive card. So I guess what I have to figure out is like, does this get value before it gets removed?
I'll say one thing is also like if you were to attack, they can't, like if they block with a bigger creature, like Death Touch means that the bigger creature also would just die, right? So Death Touch can be helpful on your turn. It forces like bad blocks sometimes.
Okay, but like if they had like a
it's not relevant for this card, but it's like just a small thing.
If they had like a 1 health creature though, couldn't they just be like, I'm blocking this one with my 1 health creature?
Yeah, but it's still like they're losing that creature, right? That's like they're losing still a card, which is like in Magic, like a lot of times it's a card is like pretty good exchange for you if they like lose a card plus something else.
Okay. Yeah, this is the hardest card you've shown me so far, because it has like the mana cost is like reasonable. It's not crazy, and then it does
4 is like very reasonable, very reasonable. And
then like its stats seem okay, because the other one you showed me was 5/5 or 6, and then okay, I think like the life thing, like I'm not even focusing on that. I'm like literally just thinking like, is this worth it? Is like this is almost like playing taunt in a way. Or not like you're just having like it's having like a removal. Okay, I'm gonna say this card is like good because you can like use it to get rid of like your opponent's best monster on your turn.
So this card is like, I think if I remember correctly, at one time like one of the best cards in like
let's go.
Standard. So the reason why this card is so powerful is like first thing you said is like it forces your opponent to have a response. Like the body is very effective because 4 or 5, a lot of creatures, this 5 is kind of a brick wall. So it forces them to respond to this. And the thing is, like, if your opponent just has no response, they just lose. Like, if you are able to, like, drag the game out, like, the losing 2 turns, like, a pretty massive effect because, like, eventually they will just lose. Like, I've watched games where it's just, like, your opponent, like, someone just plays this, opponent doesn't have a threat or, like, a response to it. The game just drags out and they die to it. Like, the card just does a lot of very powerful things. And the thing about the legendary thing is, weirdly, in certain formats or like decks, having multiple is like good because the card's so powerful, it forces a response. So you just want another copy of it. So the card's just very powerful. I think that it like got a little worse the past year because like cards got too powerful to keep up. But at least that the card's printing is one of the best cards, and like I think it hit like $80 to like $100 at one point because you want to play like 4-ish copies in like all your black decks because
just draw it consistently.
It was just you just draw it more consistently. And again, like in a game where you're drawing not many cards, it's like pretty important.
True. So was the Death Touch part like a good part of it, or was it mainly the lose 2 lives? I thought that was irrelevant. So
I don't think it matters too much. It's like pretty solid.
Okay.
Like I think that if you were to remove that, the card would still be like decent, but if you remove like the draw part, the card would be like awful.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like the two together is like very solid, but like 4 mana, 4 or 5 Death Touch just isn't like above rate for Magic. But having the extra effect is why the card is super powerful.
So do they have cards that are just like vanilla? They don't have any effects, but they have stats?
Yes.
Like how much would a 4 mana like vanilla monster have? Like 5/5?
Like usually like a 4/4 is like baseline.
Okay.
It's like 4/4 to like 5/5. Like and like a 4 mana even like 6/6 would probably be unplayable because vanilla is just unacceptable because that's just so bad because all cards like as you saw, Doomblade trades well with that card.
Yeah.
So you really want like your cards to have like some amount of substance to them. Like playing just vanilla things with no text on it just is really bad in current Magic because the power level is way too high for all these cards and like they all synergize so well together that you really need to make sure that your cards like do something powerful and not just our stats.
Cool. That makes sense. Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So I have one more two more. So this one is a little different.
Okay.
I've shown a lot of cards from the beginning of Magic. So it's just 3. Cost 3, and both players discard their hand and draw 7. That's it.
Okay.
And max hand size is 7.
So what happens if I draw more than 7? I just like discard the card?
Discard down, yeah. Discard down to 7.
And I get to pick which one I get rid of?
Yeah.
So if I play this, my opponent has to draw for turn, then discard a card?
Unless they play something. So like...
Oh, because you can play on your opponent's turn.
Yeah. Because you discard end of your turn.
Okay. But if I haven't played something by the start of my turn, I would have to discard a card?
If like you did your whole turn and like didn't play anything, you would have to discard, but that would not be expected. You for sure are going to play something.
This is interesting.
So each player gets a research.
Yeah, each player gets research. Okay, so I mean 3 mana, like that's not negligible. It's a decent amount. So like I'm probably not playing as many things on my next turn, or on this current turn.
Yeah.
And I also am giving my opponent more cards. So I guess there's a couple things. Is like, okay, like if my opponent like knows I play this card, they can probably play a bunch of their cards and play a bit more aggressive. And then I guess like, do I care about like discarding? Like, is it like a detriment to like discard your opponent's cards, right? Like Delinquent was a good card in Pokemon for a while. So I think in Magic, from what it sounds like, it doesn't sound like that's big of a deal, right?
You don't really care. It doesn't really matter that much. Like, it's not a big deal. You have so many copies of cards, and a lot of cards are really like redundant, so you just don't really care that much. Like this card would be in your deck not because of like you disrupt your opponent. Okay,
that makes sense. That's what I was thinking. So okay, the one thing that I could see this being good in, like I've been learning a lot more of my Hearthstone knowledge and Pokemon knowledge in videos. Like in aggro, like if an effect like this is really good because like you can discard all your you play a lot of low cost cards and then you just replenish. And then in Hearthstone, the control deck would always already have a big hand against you. So like maybe it's not that big of a deal to keep giving them cards if you're just putting pressure on them. So like I feel like this was a really good aggro card. I don't think any mid-range or like control deck would ever play this, but I think this was a great aggro card. That's gonna be my guess. Okay.
So this card, the reason why it's good, the theory you're right, but the issue is like, so this card's old. Like this is again our beginning card from Magic. So the reason why this card is still played to this day, is that in the older formats, there's a thing called combos. So if you get certain like cards together, you just will win, right? Because they work well together. And being able to refill your hand in the middle of a combo is like pretty powerful. So the card is just pretty solid due to just like how you play some stuff, you play that, got another 7 cards, and you're able to refresh and just win the game off of that. So the card's pretty good. My knowledge in this one's probably not as good as like the other cards, but I think it's like a pretty good card. It does some powerful things again, like I said about the combo part, right? It's not really like an aggro card, but that's also due to like how this card came out today. It would be played in aggro for sure, but the card is now mainly used as like a combo card. So you're right about the direction, just like probably the knowledge of the game not really knowing is why like the exact reason is wrong.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, but again, the card would be broken. It's like Divine Favor in Hearthstone, which is like draw a bunch. So this card, this is our last card. We had our creature. So it's 3 mana, 3 different types. So blue, red, white, and then is 3/3. So I'm going to explain mechanics. Flying is like the Shivan Dragon. Like you have to have flying or reach to block. Vigilance means that you don't have to tap it. If you tap a creature, you cannot block with it. You have to only can block with untapped creatures.
So if I attack on my turn, I can't block anymore. I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Luckily, none of the cards we've shown really matter, but you cannot block. And then haste means it's like charge. When you play it, you can attack.
Okay. And then it costs 3 mana. So are you allowed
Yes.
to like mix mana types in your deck or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So I will say one thing is that 3 color decks can be sometimes restrictive because you have to have like all 3 types. There isn't like, oh, you can maybe have a blue or a red for this. It is, I need exactly blue, red, white, or I cannot cast it. Mana, it's very doable. I'll say it's very doable. It's just that it sometimes can be a little difficult if you get a bad hand.
Okay. Is there like a rainbow energy type of land where it's like it counts as any type or no?
Yes, but it would not go well with this card. I'll tell you that right now. Usually it's like 2 to 3. It's for this card. For example, the land that you play is like a land that you can't use it the turn comes into play, but it taps for all 3 colors.
Oh, there's like lands that say it counts as 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they just have drawbacks. So it is castable. But again, there is a restriction on it.
Okay.
Like you'll sometimes just have bad hands that you just don't have one of the colors and you're stuck.
Okay, well my first thought is like you have to really alter how you build your deck to play this. So like this creature has to be like broken for it to be good. Or like maybe there's just an archetype or there's other broken cards. Like this is just okay if I'm already playing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, it's like if I have like a bricky hand and like this just becomes dead. That seems really bad. Because I feel like okay, like 3/3 for 3 mana, that's probably like on curve. So like if I don't get this down like on turn 3, like it probably loses power, like if I play this in the later stages of the game. But I mean like having haste seems pretty good. I mean you can attack right away. And then I can use it to block. So like it feels like it's insane value if I get this right away. But you're telling me like if I want to like summon this, like it probably needs like a turn to set up to get the land that like gets all 3.
You can play it on 3. You can play it on turn 3. I will say that.
Okay.
It's
so,
just that sometimes you might have an issue. Sometimes maybe like turn 4 or 5.
Okay, so like turn 2, like I would play like the like land that helps me get all of them, and turn 3, I would get this. Okay. So I mean, knowing that too, that means I probably need a turn to set this up. So like on my turn where I'm playing the card to get it set up, I'm probably not doing much, which might not be an issue if like because then maybe my late game is stronger than my opponent, so I get these powerful stuff. I'm not sure on this one. Because it seems very strong if I get this on turn 3. But you're telling me it's like, it might be a bit inconsistent to get it on turn 3.
It can do it, again. It's like pretty reasonable to do. It's just that again, there's a percentage of games, but not a high one, but there's a percentage where it will be a little difficult.
Yeah. Well, okay, then I guess. Is this like a certain color, or is this just like neutral color?
3 colors.
So 3 colors. They just blend the colors together and make it. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically like when they're multicolors, they look gold.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then, okay. Well, I mean, if I'm playing multicolor, I mean, I guess I could also probably play like the colors from like different classes then if they have good cards. Like you showed me like the removal spell.
Yeah, you have like basically you're getting all the best cards also from 3 things. There's not only a downside for playing 3. It's just that sometimes like the mana you have is inconsistent. For, like you sometimes can't cast everything as you would like due to having all these colors. But you also get the upside of you get the most powerful color or cards from 3 colors instead of just like 1 or 2. Yeah. Which can depend on the game. I'll say that like when this card was printed, a lot of the best cards were probably all these colors had really good cards.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, like in Pokemon, like for the most part, our decks are one type, but there's a lot of good decks, like Poltzard, for example, that mix and match, like if they have synergy. So like that part, like I kind of feel like it could maybe work. Okay, I'm gonna say like this is like a good card in the multicolor decks. I don't think like you would play a multicolored deck like to play this. That's like my thing. I'll say it's like like an average card in like go to decks.
I agree with that. I think it's like pretty solid card. Like it's pretty powerful. Like, you played on 3. It did a lot back in the day when this card was good. The game nowadays, I don't know if you can play this card, but at least back when it first came out, it was like quite powerful. Just pretty solid card overall. I might be understanding. Maybe I'll feel like mad at me for calling it like pretty solid, but I think it's just a pretty good card. The mana was like pretty solid. It's like you were able to play that card on 3 a good amount of time. So it was like pretty good. And like I'll say though, like they were like if you play this on 3 and then 4, that was really, really, really good back when this card was in standard. So the card is like pretty solid. It was a hard one. It's a really weird one for sure.
Yeah, I can see it puts a lot of pressure. Because it has like a dual threat. Like
Yeah. It's just very hard to disrupt. Like if you don't remove it, it just puts a clock on your opponent. And also like the decks that will play this card are either super fast or you would play a lot of like disruption, so like things like the Doomblade, right? It was a weaker version of Doomblade, but like the kind of idea of like things that disrupt your opponent, like counter spells, maybe.
Okay, cool. Nice. All right, I think I actually did a pretty good job guessing most
Yeah,
of
I think you did pretty good overall. Yeah. I don't know if that is good on you or more I did a bad job, or I picked too many old cards. I can't decide what one.
I will say both.
Yeah.
So nice. So Ian, like, yeah, I want to talk a bit about like, so you're obviously a very accomplished Pokemon player. In a short amount of time, you've been doing really well at Magic. So do you think like you would have been able to pick up Magic so fast if you didn't have so much Pokemon background to fall back on?
I don't think so. I mean, I played Magic for a very long time also, but never competitively at all, just very casually. So I think that at least for me, a lot of stuff like work ethic, like understanding how much like what needs to be done to improve, and just like having all the skills I gained from Pokemon, like I would not be able to pick up Magic like at a competitive level as quick as I have. Because again, I played for a long time, but like top level competitive versus just playing for fun is two very different things. Like, of course, like same as Pokemon.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So cool. And we're actually launching a really cool initiative next week from when this video is coming out. Ian's going to be giving a live talk, but we'll also be streaming it if you guys are not going to be at the World Championships in Anaheim, where you're going to kind of talk about how you've been so successful playing both games and how you've mastered both. So Ian, do you want to give people a quick preview of what that talk is going to be about?
Yeah, sure. So on the week of Pokemon Worlds, I will be giving a presentation about how you're able to use skills like from Pokemon to improve at other games. My goal from the class is not even, I will be talking mainly about Magic, but my main goal is for everyone who is a little bit nervous about trying to pick up a new game to give them skills and ways to get better and learn a new game and create goals that are achievable and sustainable if you're interested in doing that.
Nice. Yeah, so if you're going to be in Anaheim next week, come see it in person. Otherwise, you can watch it online or get the VOD. I'll put the link in the description below. So Ian, thanks a lot for doing this. I had a lot of fun.
You've had me on.
Yeah, I would love to do something like this again. I got to try the other card games too.
Yes,
so I'll have to get I mean, I was talking with someone who plays One Piece. So I might do One Piece next. And then we should get some of the best players from Magic and One Piece to try and come guess Pokemon. So if you're watching this,
that'll be fun.
And you're a Magic or a One Piece player, you guys know people in that space who you think would be fun to come and have guess Pokemon cards with us, I would love to make it. I'm sure Ian would love to make those videos. So definitely send us suggestions. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for watching. Let us know how you did guessing if you've never played Magic, and we'll catch you guys next time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this new style of video. I definitely want to start doing some more fun videos on my channel, in addition to the competitive stuff I do. So thanks again to Ian for coming on to this channel. I'll link his YouTube and his Twitter in the description below. Also, if you want more from me, consider checking out my Metafy group. You can see all my lovely supporters here scrolling on this list. I post weekly board states and puzzles. I have group lessons, and I have a Discord where you can ask me questions, where I also post all of my deck list. Also, you can check out Endgame sleeves, use code Ciaran for 10% off. That also helps support me. So if you're interested, links below. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys next time.